Well, welcome, Kathryn. Nice to talk to you.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited today. I just recorded another episode on community. Obviously, someone who's kind of in communities, and now I'm talking to someone who's actually launched a community. So I'm really excited to talk about Channel Marketing Association, what it's all about, how you founded it, and more about yourself as well.
Sure. So, with my co-founder Amy Bailey, we launched the Channel Marketing Association just a little over a year ago. I have my own company called ChannelWise. We provide on-demand expert advice to the channel partners and vendors and suppliers to help them accelerate their business growth. And we also run the popular coaching cafes at the industry events. And my friend Amy, we've been in the channel for a long time. She on the telecom side, and I was more on the IT side. She started her own company, an events company, a couple of years ago. And right after that, we started seeing like a lot of the downsizing and reductions in force and everything happening, and a lot of it really impacted our friends in channel marketing. And we thought, we've got to do something. We've got to, we've got all this knowledge and this experience, and we have these great networks. How can we come together and do something? So we decided we were going to launch the Channel Marketing Association, and we did our very first webinar just kind of as a test thing in November of 23. Yeah. And we had like 300 people on it. And we were like, oh, I
Wow.
guess, I guess this is a thing, right?
Holy smokes!
So
Real quick, were those a lot of people you already knew, like your network, or were people just finding this webinar like this is something I need?
well, both,
Okay.
because, again, we have a huge, network in the
Yeah.
channel already. And it was talking about how to do more with less. And so that's where everybody's head was at the time.
Yeah.
And then we noticed that there really wasn't, the need was, they wanted a kind of a safe space, a community that they could share best practices and how they can all work together. We used to joke the channel was like the same 100 people, they just moved around. And that's
Yeah.
what it was. But now, with cybersecurity vendors and the MSP space and all the different kinds of vendors and suppliers that have come in, it's exploded. I think Jay McBain talks about like there's 35,000 channel vendors out there now. So that's a huge number. And so, we wanted, areas for people to be able to get their professional knowledge up, share best practices, and just give back to the community that's been really great to us. So we started the Channel Marketing Association, and we did our very first in-person summit in 2024, and we had about 100 marketers there, and right after that we just started growing really quickly. So we have like over 1,000 members now,
Wow.
which is crazy and wonderful too. And we're just really trying to figure out ways to serve the community. This year we doubled it. We over doubled in size. We had about 230 people at our in-person summit. We give about, we had about over 1,000 applicants for our Channel Marketing Excellence Awards. And so, people are starting to really realize that channel marketing is an important piece and component of really moving the channel forward and the business forward. And so we're really proud of that. But, again, just trying to serve our friends and our market. Yeah.
Now, so when you did this webinar, like, did you have this vision of where this could go, or was it like, oh my God, there's so many people in this webinar, this could become like, did you just kind of experience it as it happened, or were you always set out to create this giant community with events and webinars and everything to go with it?
It wasn't about the giant community at all.
Yeah.
And I think, and it still isn't honestly. Like we did when we did the summit last year, the thing that people loved the most about it was the fact that it was very intimate, and we've decided that we're not, going to go over like 250, maybe 300 at the most.
Hmm.
We really want to keep it small because it's that community base. So it's not set up to do like 500-person events and things like that. We want to make sure that it's people getting the knowledge, right? That people are getting the experience that they want. So we started doing some in-person forums, like small gatherings. We did the Dell Technologies was kind enough to host us at their executive briefing center here in Hopkinton, Mass, at the beginning of June. And we had about 30 really high level channel folks there. And it was just a great experience for everybody to be able to, like I said, share best practices and camaraderie and, learning from one another. We had a New York Times bestselling author, my friend, Dr. Angela Jackson, who talked about her new book, The Win-Win Workplace, because as you probably can imagine, with all the changes and AI coming in and the reductions in force and all the different things, and people are getting acquired, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
That from a leadership perspective, it can be very challenging to like manage through that too. So we try to take care of the community, not only giving them the skills for the job that they're doing now, but even potentially the job that they could be doing moving forward. And of course, you don't want to forget about the leaders who are having to lead through this change and not only take care of their teams, but also themselves. So, we're just
Yeah.
trying to, as I mentioned, really making sure that we're giving back to the community.
Yeah, and you mentioned an author and book, and I definitely want to get into your book that you have out. But before that, any surprises or key learnings as the community's grown and it's become its own thing? Like, what's been your biggest takeaway?
Well, I think a couple of things. So we did last year, we did the very first state of channel marketing report.
Hmm.
And we did this widespread survey and really checking in on like the, kind of keeping our finger on the pulse. One of the things that was kind of surprising is more than 60% of our channel marketing folks didn't have a very like well baked out ideal partner profile. So one of the challenges of channel marketing over the years has been marketers have been pretty good about saying, hey, we really kind of have to hone in, and find the right partner. And then you have sometimes leadership. It could be the fact that they have a direct side that's more of a numbers game, so they don't kind of get it, or they've just gotten a bunch of investors who are like, we got to get more partners. And the marketers are like, whoa, hold on, we need the right partners, so it's been a little bit of that. So we're really, trying to help our community get that message across too, and how to build your IPP. We have a big a new thing launching in the fall, but we built a GPT. We built a specialized AI tool that will help marketers build their IPP.
Oh, interesting. Now, is
Yeah.
this just for people in the community, or is this something that anybody can access?
Well, there is a light version for people on the outside if they want
Okay,
to access it, but obviously the members will be getting the full thing. So
cool.
we started with that, and then events. The channel does a ridiculous amount of events, and it's ridiculous. But what we're finding is that partners still love going to them, right? I think Canals talks about like three. I want to say it's like 342, and I think I might even be shrinking the number. Maybe it's in the 360 range or something, but they're of channel events, and that's only the bigger ones, right?
Hmm.
That's not even like the regional road shows and things like that. And so the important piece of it is that you could spend millions, and people spend, I think the average was around $250,000 on events, and that's not even all in with the travel and all that kind of stuff. And of course, when you think about it, the toll it takes on your personnel, not even the budget, right? So it's like, how are you finding the right events? Are you really tracking the ROI, whatever that is for you? It could be that you want brand awareness. It doesn't have to be a dollar for dollar even. And we found out that more than 40%, almost 50% didn't really have a great way to track the ROI of events. So like these are things that we feel like should be part of what channel marketers are able to do, because most of it comes out of their budget,
Hmm.
right? So I think those are the things. And then of course with AI, right? We're in this AI era, and everything's AI. And, more than 60% at our last count said that they were, a lot of them didn't really even start doing it. But now we're at like the 60% where they're sort of dabbling in it and stuff. And so, in trying to figure out how to best serve the community, these are the different kinds of things, the levers that we're pulling on this year and probably into next, especially with AI, to make sure that, again, channel marketers have all the tools that they need to be successful.
So I think when most people think about community, I think networking, relationships kind of comes to the top. But what I'm hearing is there's actually a lot of education. Like education is a huge part of what I'm assuming is going on inside a channel marketing association. How much of it is one versus the other, and I assume they both really support each other in how you deliver them.
They do. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions, and I'm going to disabuse anyone out there listening of this is not easy. You can't just throw together a community. Community is like it's like a very delicate plant. You
Hmm.
have to feed it, you have to water it, you have to, make sure it gets enough sun, whatever it is. It's very important that you do that. And so for us, that's what it is. So we have our networking opportunities, we have meetups, we have the forums, we have the summit. And Amy and I go to a number of shows, and we're always doing, something. And of course, we have our online community where people can chat and share best practices. But it can't just be that, right? It has to be more than that. And because when we first started, we're like, oh, everyone's going to come in and share best practices. Well, that didn't exactly happen because people are nervous. Like, well, should I share this? I'm not sure, that kind of thing. And you know, oftentimes we discount how much we know. We were like, oh, everybody knows this, but that's not the case. And that's one of the things that Amy and I have uncovered as we're going, is that you know anonymously people will be like, yeah, I don't really track ROI, but they would never say in a community like, hey, I don't track ROI, for fear of people going, what, even though 60% of them don't, whatever. So it's important that when you have a community, that you offer the different opportunities for networking, but you also kind of have to take the lead, because people are looking at you for that. So that's what we're doing. And we're, the courses, we're writing books, we're doing a number of things. We have some great partnerships that we're working with, and we have great sponsors and stuff like that. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the Excellence Awards, because I actually saw this on LinkedIn recently. A partner marketer at Microsoft had actually posted, her acceptance of one of these awards. Tell me a little bit about what it is. What does it mean to the community? How do you apply for one? Everything.
So, one of the things that we don't really get enough of, especially in channel marketing, salespeople get their president's club, or they get their big commission checks, and hey, I'm a salesperson, so I'm with you. I started marketing and went to sales, but marketers don't really get that pat on the back or anything like that. So we decided that we were going to do that, and so we launched the Channel Marketing Excellence Awards the first year. And we same as this year, we had nearly 1,000, applicants. And basically we look at, like, how visible are you out there? Like, are you on LinkedIn? Are you posting a lot? Are you contributing to the greater good of the channel? Are you well regarded for, in the different circles? How long have you been in the channel? How are you, different kinds of things and criteria that we do. So we started the first year and last year, and it's just been super rewarding to see people get that recognition for their actual performance in this industry. You can't really, well, you can't at all graduate with a degree in channel. Like, there is no courses out there really for channel. So it's such a niche, but it's a really great community niche, and it's it drives trillions of dollars of revenue. So it's like, we want to make sure these people get the recognition they deserve for the hard work that they're doing.
All right, I want to switch a little bit to the book I referenced earlier. You have a brand new book out, AI in the Channel. Is that the name?
Your first 30 days with AI, Channel Marketing Edition. Yes.
There we go. So this isn't your first book, though.
No, this is my 10th.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you couldn't have been more timely with a title like that. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Well, my first books years ago were, everything that I try to do is very tactical and practical. And years ago, the first books that I wrote were like the step-by-step guide to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, because back then that was the big thing. Like, marketing changed, not as quickly, I would say, as AI has entered, but quick enough that it went from like billboards and TV and radio ads to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube. And so a lot of the marketers got caught flat-footed a little bit, because they had the strategy, but they didn't understand the tools, right? Same thing today with AI, is that most of the marketers that I know, the seasoned marketers, they have all the knowledge. They understand what they need and how they want to do it. But using a tool like AI, unless you really understand how to speak to it and how to give it the information, it needs to return to you the results that you would want, that would actually save you time, you're going to think this it's junk. And that's what happened with me. The first year I was using it, I was, I just be like, yeah, give me a blog post, or hey, rewrite this, or do stuff like that. And my friend Julie, who I co-wrote the book with, she's been a friend of mine on my journey for many, many years. She was with me when I wrote those first books way back. And I said, Julie, this is terrible. Like, it was coming up with stuff like, oh, we're going to delve into whatever, or in today's, digital landscape. I was like, oh, and it took me so long to edit and stuff. And she's like, with respect, Kat, you're doing it wrong. She's like, you're not talking to it right. You're not giving it, what it needs and stuff like that. So she had written a book, a beginner book for AI for small business people. And I said, can you work with me and we'll do one for the channel marketing community? So we did. So we wrote it and we just released it. But, we've given out some review copies and things like that. We're getting really great feedback on it. And because it's written for channel marketers by channel marketers. So it's like, it's not this, what's an LLM, not for nothing, but I really don't care how the sausage is made. I just want to make sure that I can use what this tool is to make my life easier. And with everything in tech, again, reductions in force, budget reductions and everything, people are going to have to do more with less. And this is the best way to keep your sanity and use a tool that's really meant to help you do and be more, you're able to be more strategic because you're less tactical, right? When you employ these strategies. So that's what we're working on, and that's what we did. And then we of course we launched a course to go with it.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about the course. Is it like application based on what to do with this information now?
Yes, exactly. So we walk folks through. It's not exactly a replica of the book, but in some ways it's close. It's like, the top 10, 15 use cases that we know channel marketers do all the time, and how they can use the tool. We give them the prompts, we walk them through everything, and it's very practical because at the end, it's like, okay, now it's your turn. Take this prompt that we just did and worked on with you and put it into your context for your company, for what you need. And then you get the output that you would want. So that's what we are doing. And again, it's a certification. It's the first industry recognized certification. So we're really proud of that.
Oh, interesting.
And the fact is that, there's so much movement again with riffs and with all the things. I think there was a statistic I saw the other day. It was like 88% of all job descriptions now say they want AI proficiency. There's no real way to prove it though, but you can when you say, hey, I've gotten certified. So that's what we're trying to do, is set our folks apart. When they're applying for jobs, when they're looking for different kinds of things, when they're hiring people, it gives them an idea of the fact that this person understands how to use AI to the best, in the best way.
Is there an example use case that you can tease out, or just, for people listening, something to take away, just to think about, how do I actually utilize AI in the channel? Like, anything you can give them?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is just the practical stuff that you do all the time, like QBRs. Like if you want to, if you're doing quarterly business reviews with your partners, you're able to kind of take and solidify that information, and you giving them scorecards. I mean, not all marketers do that, but a lot of times they're involved in those kinds of things. MDF. You can, use it to write MDF rules. You can use it to, give your partners the ideas of how they could use the MDF. Then they can give you the information back, and then you could use it to say whether or not this was a successful use of your MDF. Events, utilizing it to look at what cities are good, to do events in, and how to calculate the ROI of an event. We have a custom GPT that we wrote specifically for our members that they could put information in to get that. Just easy stuff like battle cards. You can go in and you can ask it to create a battle card for you and your competitors and things like that, so partners can get that. One of the greatest things is localization. As we expand globally, I was just in Paris and we did a meetup there. The number one challenge for folks in other regions is the translations. not only the translations, but when I say localization, I mean it's like, some of the turns of phrase we use in English don't translate over there. People don't know what game changer means. Maybe, you know what I mean? It was like, so it's different kinds of things like that. So AI is trained really well, and it's getting there. It's better now, and it's getting there, but it's trained much better than just Google Translate to give you that true localization. So being able to localize campaigns quickly is really good. But just your normal stuff like white papers, ebooks, like all those kinds of things, and we walk through all those examples in the course and in the book.
You mentioned MDF. I obviously work with a lot of partner marketers that are dealing with MDF programs. Huge challenge, and I wanted to kind of talk to you about some of the challenges out there. What are you seeing work well with MDF programs, or do you have any advice with people that just struggle with MDF programs, whether they're giving out MDF or receiving MDF? Like, what are you seeing?
MDF has evolved so much over the years, and we're actually launching a course on that too, just by the way, because most people don't even understand what it is, right? They do not even understand. They think it's some kind of like a slush fund or whatever. Well, that's not exactly true. There are rules, there are legal rules around it, which is why you can't just use it for anything. But some of the things you use it for, you're like, what? Why can you do that? So I think the number one thing that we always recommend with MDF is first understanding what it is in regard to your organization. Some people call it spiffs, some people call it MDF, some people call it JDF, BDF. There's all these different terms. Contra dollars, like, I mean, just number one, like understanding the different, you know, terms that people are using and how it's being used. So that's first. Second, I think, the applying it across the board gets really challenging. And trying to figure out the best ways to use it. Every organization has their own, rules around it. It gets very complicated and can be very cumbersome, but it can also be a really great way for you to expand your reach and your marketing. So again, it's really understanding completely the rules. I always recommend too that marketers spend a lot of time with their sales leaders, with their finance people, because the CFO of your company, or those folks, they're going to be the ones explain to you, look, this is what you can use it for. This is how to get it through quicker. Really making sure that you understand how it can work. One of the things, and I'm not going to take it on this year because it's a lot, but one of the things I really want to tackle, hoping in 26, is really trying to figure out a good way for MDF to be more standardized and also work better for partners. You have a challenge that, when you really dig into the research out there, and I'm kind of a geek, so I really dig into a lot of this stuff. The vast majority of partners do most of their business in the last quarter and first quarter of the following year, calendar year. And that makes sense, right? Because people's contracts are usually up on a calendar year and stuff like that. But the vendor's MDF is doled out quarterly. And they're like, well, why does anyone use it? Well, really, two reasons. One is they dole it out quarterly, so the partners are really busy trying to onboard new people and just thinking about through their business. The second thing is, outside of like an actual phone call campaign, and even that can be a little bit challenging to like drill down in one quarter. Most of the activities these people are going to do, events, social media, whatever it is, you're not going to get those results in one quarter. So you're expected to, spend the money, report back on the money, get reimbursed for the money. Sometimes they give it up front, but a lot of times the partner has to dole it out and they get reimbursed. And so now you have a problem where they're not getting the ROI fast enough, right? So that's one of the things that I really want to look at. If there is a way from an industry best practice perspective that we can look at this more from how it works best for partners rather than how it works best for us.
You think AI can play a role in helping solve that problem?
No, not really, no. Because I mean, it can play a role with if I upload my, my results but if I don't have results for 2 quarters and I'm supposed to submit it this quarter, that's not going to help.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more of like looking at the overall MDF best practices and seeing if there is a way that it can be a rolling fund or something. Just
yeah.
just reimagining it a little bit different, because it can be super useful, but but if it doesn't work for the partner, if it's onerous for the partner, if it, I do think AI can help with the rules, right? Now a lot of times you have to, even today, you have to fill out like a Google form or whatever, and you have some person sitting there going, oh, this looks good. But if you can build an agent that has all the custom rules and everything else built in, the partner can fill out the thing and it can automatically say, yeah, hey, this is great. And then when they have their results, they go back into that same thing. They put the results in, and then it builds them a deck, and it builds the salesperson or the marketer a deck that they can go back to their leadership and say, hey, this was the outcome. So in that case, I think it can. I don't think it would help sort of rewrite the rules, though. No.
Yeah, certainly if someone internally is pushing a better process, they might get squashed. But if they're coming to them saying, hey, we're working with an association and this is a new standard they put out as a best practice,
Correct.
like I think that helps add credibility and weight to that internal push.
100%. That's why we're saying, like, the Channel Marketing Association, we'd like to take the lead there and say,
Yeah.
this is our recommendation from our research. And then we have some really incredible companies that we work with: ServiceNow, Dell, D&H Distributing, Fortinet, Cloudflare. We have Lumen, Comcast from the telecom side. And so, you know, with the help of those folks, because it's not just me saying it, right? I mean, everyone's saying that this system doesn't work great, right? So if we all come together and we can show that there could be a potentially better way, all it takes is a few of these bigger vendors to buy into it and accept it, and then it becomes, best practices across. So that's one of the goals. Things that are going to make the lives easier of our members, but also the channel community stronger. Because if we make them stronger, we are able to get the MDF deployed. It's able to be used. The partners are more successful. Then the channel becomes more successful, right? So that's what we're trying to do.
Well, that's definitely exciting. And as we close up here, anything else that people should be excited for, whether in the second half of the year or just in the vision of where Channel Marketing Association is going?
Ooh, we have a lot of things. Okay. So July, we have the AI in the Channel Summit. It's a virtual summit. So it's 2 days, and it's all of these incredible people who have come forward and said, I'm going to show you under the hood of like how I'm using AI to be successful. So it's like, it's for channel marketers and sellers. We have a couple of CEOs who have implemented AI workflows throughout their companies, some of them for 3 years, which most of us weren't even thinking about it then, right? So they're all willing to come together and show people how they can use it. Again, that's targeted to channel marketers and sellers. We have again, we have the book and the course, the AI Essentials course. And then in the fall, we have a couple of forums in Northern California and Southern California. So we'll be there. And then we have our big channel marketing virtual summit that we have in October. And that's going to be just channel marketing. And we'll have some AI stuff in there, but it'll be all different stuff about channel marketing. And then we'll have the opening of the Excellence Awards. And then we'll do our call for speakers for the Channel Marketing Association Summit for 2026. So we have a lot of good stuff happening, and we're just really blessed. We feel really grateful for the support that we've gotten, for the members that we have, and everyone really working together has just made it so much more fun and rewarding.
Awesome. And I know you said trying to keep it small and intimate, but is there an opportunity if someone's not in the Channel Marketing Association to still join?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're not restricting the membership per se. Like, so I said,
Yeah.
we have over 1,000 members, but it's like some of the bigger, like, in-person events and things like that. We're trying to keep them much smaller, more intimate, so that people actually get a really good experience and can learn from each other versus sitting in a room with 1,000 people hoping that someone's listening, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
No, I love it. I love it. Big community, but intimate gatherings to really connect with folks. I mean, that's absolutely everything I love. So,
Exactly.
Kathryn, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great, and I really appreciate the time. And busy second half of the year. Good luck.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.